does your hair journey begin?
Wow. I was about to say that my hair journey began on the campus of Florida A&M, but I can't say that. Actually, as a child, now that I think about it, I remember being taught how to braid by my older sister. So she was really creative when it came to braided style. She braided my hair, and of course my mother braided her hair. And I started to really, I would say, hone my craft with my sister, Nisi. She was pretty much my guinea pig. She had a head full of really, really thick hair, and I think I had more patience than my mama had. So I was the one who ended up, doing Nisi's hair. That's my younger sister, so she and I would just sit and do hair. And now, y'all are making me reflect. I guess that probably that was something that really helped us to build the strong bond that we have now today. But, after graduating from high school, so even in high school, I did hair. I can recall once, you all are really making me go there. Mm-hmm. But I can remember once being in it was the 4th grade, and I remember this new girl, she came to our class, and she was new at the school. And she wasn't dressed all that nice, back then. And I remember her having a little short afro. And back then, kids would have picked on her. But I remember asking her where she lived. And she didn't live very far from where I lived. And I took her to my house and I braided her hair. And I remember braiding her hair because I just wanted to make her feel good and look good, because she was a new person that was coming to our school. And we are friends until, now. She and I are friends. So that was a relationship that was actually built through doing hair, So those are some of the first memories that I have of actually, doing hair, honing my craft at home. And once I graduated from high school, I had the talent to braid. I did a lot of my friends and family's hair. But when I came to Florida A&M, a historically black university, I didn't have a job, but I still brought along with me my talent to braid. When I came here to go to FAMU, I decided to go into the psychology department. And that was because I would have a lot of friends at home that would, come to me for advice, and so I just felt like maybe psychology would be something that I would be interested in. And so coming from a majority white school, I think that FAMU was a really good choice for me. So I went into the psychology department, and if anybody knows anything about the psychology department over at FAMU, it's really African centered, which was totally different for me. And so I can recall sitting in, the classes over at FAMU and just really feeling connected to my culture, who I am. And then at the same time, I was braiding. And back then, it was around 1990 when I attended FAMU. And back then, natural hair, it wasn't something that was very popular. No one advertised like they do these days. There weren't any social media, those types of things, Instagram and Facebook, where you can advertise. But I remember making flyers, and I still have some of those flyers today. But I remember making flyers and putting them up all around the campus, and clientele started to come. And I really, really, really enjoyed doing hair, to the point that I would surround my classes around my hair schedule. So I ended up going to school only on Tuesdays and Thursdays and doing hair on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mm-hmm. And then it ended up even like after my Tuesdays and Thursdays classes, I would end up doing hair. And so I was always really focused and dedicated. But, now I'm seeing that it actually paid off. Because when some people was, going to parties or, going to be out and all of this, I was definitely there. If I set your appointment, I was there and I was going to stick to it. And so while I was braiding, this was how I pretty much put myself through school. And being in the psychology department, it was about time for me to graduate, and I needed to come up with a decision as to what it was that I wanted to do. Braiding hair when my clients would come to me, I would braid their hair. And a lot of the time, students, because they didn't have stylists in, where they were, when they were going to school, they didn't have stylists. They usually left their stylists back at home. And because, you didn't have a regular stylist, a lot of people would come and have their hair braided because it was something that would last them a semester, and you can go back home to your regular stylist and pretty much go from there. But what I realized while I was braiding hair is that it was healthier in its natural state. So a lot of people would come to me, their hair would be damaged, broken off. I would braid it up. When it came back, it was really, really thick and healthy. But then you think, oh, I need a perm, I need a relaxer. So some of these people will go back, do the same thing, but end up in the same position,
Mm-hmm.
And so I would braid their hair up, and here we go again, thick, healthy, strong. And so I got a chance before, like I said, the natural hair, became big, if that's what you want to call it. Back then I got a chance to just see firsthand how healthy it was in East Campus. And I can remember sitting in Dr. Bell's classroom, and Dr. Bell, she would always call me out. She would be like, look at, just look at that. Just look at the skin. Baby, stand up. So she would make me stand up in front of the class, and she would do this all the time. Have me stand up in front of the class, and she would just talk about the melanin in my skin. And y'all know, coming from a majority white school, you didn't, teachers weren't going to tell you to stand up and appreciate the melanin in your skin, especially as dark as I was. And so, it gives me chills now, to think about that, because like I said, just yesterday I was in Publix. And I ran into Dr. Bell, and I didn't think, she's an older lady, and I didn't think that she would really, and I hadn't seen her in years. And she looked up at me and she said, baby. And I said, Dr. Bell, you remember me? Of course I remember you. Look at you, beautiful. And she rubbed my face again, and she gave me a kiss, and it made me feel so good. She said, I'm so proud of you all. She said, I have to come over there. She keep wearing a short, natural. And she said, I have to come over there and get my hair done. And I said, Dr. Bell, you remember me? She was like, yeah, baby, I remember you. I said, you used to call me out all the time in the classroom, talk about my melanin. I said, but these are the seeds that you planted. So it did me all the good in the world just yesterday to tell her that, And so after, realizing how deeply connected hair was to our culture, I decided to go ahead and stick to what it was that I was passionate about. So I graduated 95. I got my psychology degree, and I opened up Mendiza Ngozi Art and Braiding Gallery. And the name Mendiza Ngozi, it means sweet blessings, and we got it out of an African name book, and that's what I wanted to provide to my clients, sweet blessings. And I wanted everything in the shop to be related to our culture, from the name to the products, the services, all of that, in some type of way is related to our culture, who we are. And so that was, that was the foundation of Mendiza Ngozi Art and Braiding Gallery. I opened our first salon over on Barberville Drive, which was walking distance from Florida A&M. And I did that, I did it. I worked out of my home, and I lived close to campus. And I did it because, I really enjoyed what I did. And so to be able to get up and to do what I'm able to do and be so closely connected still to FAMU, that was a blessing in itself. So Barberville Drive is like walking distance from FAMU. And so we would go up on campus, and this is how Mendiza Ngozi was built, pretty much. And so you all know about set days. So back then we would go up on the set, and I would advertise and put up flyers. Long story short, I've never, ever had another job in my life. And so that's why when I go to, I'm called upon to go to schools for career days a lot. And I like to go and talk to children, because a lot of people, when I said that I'm not going to continue to go to school, I'm not using my psychology degree, I'm going to continue to braid. I had a lot of people back then that would say, oh, you just wasted your time. But it was just the path that I had to take to get me to where I am now. And so everybody's path is different. Well, once I started to focus on natural hair and natural hair care and really started to do it as a profession, I would have a lot of college students who would come to me, and they were wanting to transition from their relaxers to their natural hair and thought that they wouldn't be able to get jobs because of their natural hair. I've seen a lot of relationships break up because of natural hair. I've seen, I've had students to come and sit down, and after doing the big chop, they cried. I can remember some people in particular crying because they said their daddy wasn't going to really appreciate the fact that they had cut off all of their hair. A lot of people thought that, parents, I've had parents to call me and say they're wanting to get this and wanting me to discourage them. But what I would end up doing is pretty much educating the parents or whomever else it would that, was negative about the transition. So I would end up, pretty much educating them about how I have worked with professional. I still continue to work with a lot of professional people. And I feel like as long as you're confident in who you are, you don't have to worry about jobs. Because like I say, I do all sorts of people from, all types of, professions too. But, even sitting down and braiding hair, it really fits into psychology. Like I said too, relationships are built. And a lot of times Black women, we're very, very busy and we don't have the chance to just come and just, sit down. And doing hair can be relaxing and it could be a release for a lot of people. And we don't sit down for long periods of times like that. And so sitting, having your hair braided makes you just kind of sit still for a minute. And when you do that, all sorts of conversations may come about. So I really do look at this as being really spiritual. Back in the day, we've heard our parents, our grandparents talk to us about being careful about who touches your hair. This is your crown. You're supposed to protect it, and you're supposed to protect it for a whole lot of reasons, other than just, chemicals or heat, those types of things. It's really spiritual. And so I, over the years, got a chance to see just how spiritual it was and how meaningful it is. When you come into Mendiza and Ngozi, I want you to experience something totally different. So I've gone the extra mile to give you an experience that you won't experience anywhere else. So the first salon that we had was in a home. It was a home setting. When you come in, you will not smell what you would normally smell, first of all, in the typical salon. When you come in, you're going to smell things that are pleasing. The things that we work with are going to be essential oils, all natural oils. The music that you hear is going to be uplifting music. The conversations that you hear are going to be inspiring conversations. Because, like I said, you sit for a long period of time. So I like to say that we're healing. When you come in, I like to think that this is a place of healing, a place that you can just get away from. You spoke about when you went into the salon and, the stylist had an opinion about your hair, but I think everybody's hair is just unique to, that individual, and I love it that, we can just be, looking at his hair, everybody is just all, it's just beautiful. And I like the uniqueness about it all. And then another thing too, the trauma that we experience in shops a lot of the times is because it was lack of knowledge and lack of patience. All of that are things that, we have to deal with. And a lot of times too, I find that, as a natural hair person, when you go into a regular salon, they're not going to be as patient with your hair, because a lot of the times it's about, making money, and I can't knock it. Everybody got to make a living, but so you may be experiencing what you experience in other salons because lack of knowledge, lack of patience, just not knowing the connection. Another thing that we do too is at Mendiza and Ngozi, I like to every now and then conduct classes, mother-daughter classes, just teaching parents how to sit down and bond while doing hair, teaching them patience, teaching them about transition styles. When I say transition styles, when you sit, and have your hair done, and we can do something that's going to last you for weeks, that you can just transition. Our hair isn't meant to be combed on a daily basis, just combed on a daily basis. Our hair is like art, and that's the reason why I say Mendiza Ngozi Art and Braiding Gallery, because it's art, you know. And so when you're sitting there, you know, creating this art, it's usually something that will last you, you know, a long time too. So it's less traumatic, you know. Every day we got to go pulling and tugging in our hair too, because we have gone now over 40 years, you know, without a comb. The comb, the products, all of the things that we were used to before we were brought from Africa. Mm-hmm. And so that's pretty much what happened. You know, we were shipped over here from Africa to work. And so we left the combs that we were used to, all the traditions when it came to our hair, you know, that we were used to. And so now we sitting here, we got to go out in the fields and we got to work, and our hair is drawing up and we got to tie it up. We don't have the things that we need to maintain it. And so it's like we're just starting all over again, you know. So it's just starting all over again and just having to relearn those things. Mm-hmm. And so I remember, you know, in 40 years without a comb, how, you know, the white people here would come and they would just touch on our hair at all, because it was just so different, you know. And I hate that now to this day. So that's one of the reasons too that I just kind of, you know, and it's all psychological, you know what I mean? So now me saying I hate when someone, and a lot of people hate when you just come up and you just touch our hair, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So a lot of those things, like your memories, all of these things are really deep rooted. Mm-hmm. It's you know, it really, it has a I guess mentally it really takes a toll on us deeper than we may know. You know what I mean? Yes. So we have suppressed things even from our ancestors that we have to deal with, from our ancestors through our parents, like, and through your experience. Mm-hmm. But it's all for a reason, you know? So I would, if you Google it on YouTube, it's just called, and it's about 4 series, but it's called 40 Years Without a Comb. And it also shows how we started to take things like lard and use that on our hair, and then we went from that to using just the iron. So when the maids or slaves were ironing clothes, they saw that it was hot, and then when they started to iron hair, and so it just went kind of from one phase, you know, to another phase with trying to straighten it out to maintain it, you know. Even in this, I like to share too, like when I started doing hair, they didn't have a license in place for me to actually braid hair. And so that's why I did it under Mendiza Ngozi Art and Braiding Gallery, because I considered it an art. And what they wanted me to do back then is go to cosmetology school and to spend all of this money and all of these hours and touch these chemicals that I didn't want to touch and I had no interest in. And they weren't going to teach me anything about how to braid. I already knew how to braid. I knew how to do that. I just wanted to be legal, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so I had a mentor out of DC who had gone around from state to state to change laws, you know, in different places. And he was over the Natural Hair Braiders Association. And I became a part of that association. And what he did was taught me the ways around having to go through cosmetology school. And basically what I did when I first started is I opened under art gallery, because this is an art. And if you open under art gallery, you can't be governed by the Department of Business and Professional Regulations when it came to cosmetology, you know? But then we have some people who question your professionalism. It's really, really sad. You know, we still have some people who don't realize that this is a craft that's been passed down from generation to generation, but they still respect those papers, right? I'm not going to go spend all that money, but if we can go another way around just to get you to trust me and to get you to come in, I'll do it. But there's only so much that I'll do. But I did go and I talked until I was like blue in the face. But when the change came about was when they started doing, you know, when you go to Disney World, if you go to Busch Gardens and you see people doing simple braids or maybe simple wraps in people's hair. So you tell me what's the difference between us wrapping or including, you know what I mean? And so when people at Disney World and Busch Gardens and all of these other places stood to lose money because they're not going to send these people to cosmetology school, and so therefore a license was developed here in the state of Florida so that we could braid hair without going through all of these ridiculous hours and paying all these ridiculous amount of money, right? Yeah. And so what happened was, you know, now there's a 16-hour course that covers the same things that my mentor, we covered anyway. So I did, my license was under art gallery and I opened that way, I still did all of the necessary things through my association when it came to learning, sanitation, scalp diseases, and those types of things. So yes, it's good to be clean. It's good to recognize different scalp diseases. And okay, we need to know a little bit about HIV, those types of things, so that we can be safe for our clients. And that I don't have a problem with. But to send me through hours of school and not teach me what it is that I already know how to do, I wasn't going to do that. So now I do license people in the state of Florida. It's only a 16-hour course for your braider's license and a 6-hour course for your wrapping license. And again, it just covers HIV, sanitation, and scalp diseases. That Mendiz and Goza was actually the first salon in the state of Florida to focus solely on just natural hair. Yeah, so there were other people who did natural hair, but they did it in salons that did other things. Right. Mm-hmm. And so we were the first ones to give you this atmosphere. And I want you to feel relaxed. I want you to feel like you're at home. I want to be able to go into my kitchen and pull out my olive oil and give you, your coconut or your bergamot and mix you up something that's going to be special for you right in my kitchen. Mm-hmm. And if you need, I feel like, it's one of those days when we might need some tea. If I want to go in there and get that for you, I can do it, So it makes me feel comfortable too. And so me, every day, what I do is like second nature. I promise you, I can close my eyes and braid. And so that in itself, that is a blessing. And we have to continue to pass this craft along. A lot of people just, don't know that we have to continue to give it to our children. So me, for example, I pulled my daughter out of school in middle school. So when she was headed to middle school, I was like, no more. Because with me sitting down and doing a lot of clients, I've already heard the stories of how that's where they lose their children, in middle school, And so I decided that I was going to do something different because I could. So what I did was I took my daughter out of school and I brought her here with me and her aunt so that she can see the hard work and the everyday, activity that they took to make this, so that she would appreciate it. And not only did she appreciate it, she picked up on the craft, and she's 16 now. She has her braider's license, and she's doing it as well. And that's what I mean by passing it down to generation. We've worked too hard and too long for it to just be dropped right there. So it means a whole lot to me that my daughter is now, working here and, doing this as well.
It's not just about money. How do you feel about, now it's being talked about publicly through social media, how these white designers and hairstylists are now taking the African-rooted hairstyles and placing it on white girls, and then
then it becomes popular. Then it becomes popular. Then we can get it on the cover of magazines. So that is why it is important that we have our schools. You know what I mean? And so when people come to me and when we talk about it, I'm going to give you a little bit of the history. I'm going to tell you how it's related to our culture, and so that's what we all have to do. And that's one reason too why I decided to have the Capital City Natural Hair and Health Expo. It gives us a platform to have panel discussions. It gives us a platform to do classes and seminars, and it gives us a stage to tell the story about where this all came from too. So that's my way of making sure that it is not diluted by these new headlines, Bantu knots, we've been done that, you know what I mean? And now, right. And it's cool that, is it Zendaya? Yes. That she's wearing the fox locks. I love it. But would it be the same if it was a darker complexion sister that, would she have gotten all of the attention? I think it's beautiful on either or. Right. So this is the 4th annual Capital City Natural Hair and Health Expo. The first year it was held at the Women's Center. We went from there to Southside Arts Complex, and we outgrew both of those spaces. And so now we're at Florida A&M DRS. And it was just important to me to kind of take it back to my roots, back to FAMU. And we're going to have it there on September 13th, and it's an all-day event. It's going to start at 10 a.m. and it goes throughout the day until 6. The event will feature goodness, the event will feature stylists from all over. Like I said, we'll have classes and seminars and all-day entertainment on the stage, panel discussion, healthy food. We have vendors from all over. Last year we had vendors from California. We had people to come from New York. We had some people to come from Texas. We had some people to come from Atlanta. And I'm really grateful that this year we're going to have a couple of buses driving up from Atlanta to attend the expo this year. I'm very I'm grateful that to have Bob Johnson. That's someone else that you all should, do your research on. But Bob Johnson, he is the person who actually started natural hair shows. So back in 1996, I attended the natural hair show in Atlanta. And the first year that we attended, I had no, I didn't know that I was going to go and be in the contest, but I went and we entered the contest there at the hair show. And we brought home World's Best Weave and Style. So we went, we entered the show, brought home World's Best Weave and Style, and then our work started to be featured in national magazines. And so that was very inspiring to us to see our work featured in these magazines back then. But Bob Johnson, he started that hair show back then. And now he's supporting us in what it is that we're doing. And so I think it's very special to have him to come and attend the show and to bring all the people from Atlanta too. But if you are familiar with Talia Wajid and the World Natural Hair Show, so he started those way back then. So yeah, I'm pleased that he's going to be there. Who else? So we have Thando. Thando calls himself the Lock King. He's coming out of New York. We have Simone and her sister Trudy, who are with Natural Trendsetters. They'll be coming up from Miami to do panel discussion and styling and a few seminars. Who else? Baba G. So we have artists who actually makes jewelry, and we have designers too. But Baba G, he is one of Erykah Badu's jewelry designers. And if you all are familiar with the earwings, so he's the one who created the brass earwings that you see a lot of people wearing, and she was one of the first people to wear those earrings. So it's always special to come and have Baba G go ahead and place the earrings in your ear himself. So that's going to be cool. Let's see. And so, like I said, it's a hair and fashion show too, and I love the fashion. We just did a model search, and that went very well too. And it's always really pleasing to me to see some of the same girls return too. So that really means a lot to me, to see the same girls return and to continue to give that support. Well, with us having we have national recognition, with our stuff being featured in different magazines. We've had the opportunity to do a lot of entertainers. One of the first entertainers that we did was George Clinton. He lived here, and so we got a chance to do his hair. We also work with Erykah Badu, and one of my more recent clients is Ty Farrell, who's actually working on the set of Empire now. So we had the opportunity, and we still, like I said, work with her too. But we had, over the years, because of doing this, we have networked with a lot of people. So I like to think we have contacts like all over, and even out of the country. Exactly. Too, so. And one of the benefits too about being here in Tallahassee is I've had the opportunity to do students at FAMU, students at FSU, and a lot of times you have people who come and go. And so when they come, they may go back to, go and get jobs elsewhere. But I still have clients who will fly, who will drive, and who will come to have their hair service at Mindy's and Gozy. And that means a whole lot to me too. So I still have, support of people, support of people in my hometown that would drive like 2 and 3 hours to come and get their hair done. I still have people, I have clients that come from Atlanta to come and get their hair done. So that says a lot too. It's not just, the hairstyle, I don't believe. I think it's everything that they get, it's the atmosphere, people wanting to be relaxed, at peace when they're getting their hair done, because you hear all kinds of stories, about having your hair done, having to wait, having a lot of people over you, conversations that you really don't care to hear about, while you're having your hair done. So I have listened to my clients, even when I was in college. I made sure that I listened to what it was that my clients didn't like and what they did like. And I tried to, make sure that I made those mental notes and gave them everything that they liked and some.